Hi there, my name is Angela, and I was born in a small house in the kingdom of Edopia. My dad worked at the local mill and my mom stayed home growing flowers that she would later go and sell. I also had a little sister named Philippa, who was totally adorable. Things had always been rough for us and we barely scraped by, but we were always there for each other. I didn't mind it when I was a child, but as I grew older, I began to notice stuff. Like one day, my mom made us dolls made out of cloth. My sister was thrilled while I was there pouting.
Angela, what's wrong, honey? Don't you like it?
Daisy has better ones. They're such tiny China dolls, Mom, and so pretty. Her parents are the best.
Honey, Daisy's dad works as a horseman for the king. We could never afford those. But the best thing about these are that they'll never break.
Eventually, my parents coaxed me out of it, and I also understood that it couldn't be helped. When I was 16, one day I was walking home near the town square when I saw that there was a crowd of people trying to watch something. I was tall, but there were so many people that it was difficult to see. I tried to jump to see over their heads. No luck. I found a barrel of wine near a cart and I climbed over it, finally managing to see a fancy carriage, unlike anything that I had ever seen before. It was something out of those fairy tale books, like that carriage made out of a magical pumpkin in Cinderella. There was a girl around my age looking around and waving at the crowd. Who is that?
You don't know? That there is the Princess of Ethiopia.
What's she doing here?
Why, visiting the village, of course.
I was stunned by her appearance. I had never seen such a luxurious-looking gown. Her tiara was the shiniest thing that I had ever seen. Everyone was showering her with praises. She looked so good that I was jealous. I wanted what she had. I went home with the images of the princess fresh in my brain. Mom, my gown is old and patched up and my shoes are worn. Can I get new ones?
Of course, Angela. I'll get them tomorrow.
Can I get better ones this time? Like the ones that the princess wears?
I'm afraid we can't get you those, as they cost more than a year of our earnings.
I was super mad. How come some people had everything they wanted in the world and others had almost nothing? It's not fair. I ran to my room, tears streaming down my cheeks. I wished I had been born at the palace. Then I would have all the jewels and gowns in the world.
Big sister, what's the matter?
I hurriedly wiped my tears away and smiled at Philippa, but she had already seen them. Nothing, I'm fine.
Are you crying because Mom won't get you pretty things?
She had probably heard our conversation earlier. It's not Mom's fault, and hey, isn't it past your bedtime? I dreamt I was sinking into inferno, except the feeling was all too real. I opened my eyes. I was in someone else's bed, and the mattress was so thick I was actually sinking deeper into it with every second. I sat up and my eyes widened. Where was I? Why was I in this room? Had I been kidnapped? My wonder got the better of my panic as I was stunned to see the luxuries around me. I was in this huge room with marble flooring and tapestries on the walls. Suddenly, the doors burst open and I armed myself with whatever I could use as a weapon, which in this case was a stick beside the fireplace. They looked like servants, and they came to me asking,
Your Highness, what would you like to have for breakfast?
Your Highness? When did that happen? I ran to the mirror in the room and looked at my reflection. I looked exactly like the princess that I had seen yesterday. What was going on? I was panicking again. No. This can't be happening. I didn't ask for this.
Your Highness, are you quite well?
I am not the... As confused as I wasn't about to let this chance go and tell them that I wasn't the princess. So I kept my mouth shut. I was served breakfast. No, it wasn't breakfast. It was a whole feast. Breakfast? In bed? Really?
As usual.
Oops, he looked way too suspicious for my comfort. After that, I raided the princess's wardrobe, trying out all the gowns, shoes, and jewels one after another. It felt wrong going through someone else's things, but technically, I was the princess now, and they were mine. I could finally have everything in the world. While I was doing that, a servant approached me.
Your Highness, it's almost time for your lessons to begin.
What lessons?
What do you mean?
Yes, of course, the lessons. I definitely know what you're talking about. The servant looked at me strangely, then left. I wiped my brow. That was close. I'd been thinking that her life was all play and no work, but it now seemed that I might have been wrong. I followed the servant into a room with several tutors. The king was there as well. I could tell because he had a big crown on his head.
Come now, let's show your father that posture we've been working on. I told him how excellently you've been doing and he wanted to see.
One of the tutors came up ahead and placed a whole stack of books right on my head. I didn't even know what to do.
Go on, walk.
I walked slowly, very carefully, so that the books wouldn't fall. But of course, they did. Right after I had taken 2 steps, they toppled to the ground. I looked at them fearfully.
Maybe she's just nervous because you are watching, Your Majesty. Let's give her another chance.
She placed the books on my head once more, and they fell over again, and again, and again. The king looked at me with disappointment in his eyes.
You are a disgrace to the family. I can't even look at you.
And he left the room with his advisors. I had never felt more insulted. Over the next few days, I failed at everything I did. I fell so many times while horse riding that my body was covered in bruises. I couldn't dance. I couldn't even curtsy properly. People began to notice the odd behavior, and there were whispers everywhere I went. Even the servants were whispering about me.
And that there is their heir to the throne. Princess, I could do a better job than her. So improper. No etiquettes at all. It's as if she was raised in a barn with animals.
Everyone was talking behind my back. Word spread that the Princess of Adopia doesn't know the first thing about being a proper princess. I wonder what will happen to the kingdom. Oh my God. I was sick of it. In 1 week, I had had my fill. All the luxuries did not compensate for the trouble and mockery I was going through. I missed my family. They had always been nice to me and had never made me feel bad about myself, unlike the mean king. So I decided to go back. I went to my village cottage, very excited to see my parents after so long. What I saw next blew my mind. I stood there at the window, my jaw hanging open as I saw myself staring back at me. She was seated at the dinner table while my parents, dressed as servants, served me, or rather someone who looked like me with all sorts of things that they had never given me. The girl who had stolen my body looked up and saw me. She grinned evilly. Suddenly, she turned to my parents.
Why do these crumpets have so much butter on them? I told you to put less butter. Look at them. They're pooling.
Angela, don't be angry. I'll make new ones right now.
It was my mom. I couldn't believe that she was being treated this way by her. I had a hunch that it was the princess. She then turned to my father.
Did you bring it?
Of course, only the best for my baby girl.
He showed her a dress, which was obviously no match for what the princess wore, but it was still expensive and way better than anything that he had ever gotten me. What the heck? How had she manipulated them into doing this for her?
Don't you know I hate pink? I can't wear this. Go and change it.
Okay, don't get angry. It's not healthy. I'll go and have this changed right now. Don't worry.
What on earth? I had been nice and kind to them all my life, and they had never done nice things for me. And here she was being all rude and mean to them, and they rewarded her like she was the best daughter. I was so mad, I almost barged in. When both my parents were gone to get her the things that she asked for, she turned to Philippa.
What you got there? Can I see?
Philippa handed her the doll that Mom had made for us all those years ago. She couldn't even sleep without it. She took the doll from her and tore it completely.
This is trash. You're too old to play with this. Now shoot!
That was it. The last straw. She had tested my patience. Who did she think she was? Bullying my little sister? I barged inside. What do you think you're doing?
I'm doing what you did. Stealing your life.
I didn't do anything. I don't know what happened.
Like I would believe you. You're obviously a little witch. I am going to ruin your life.
I was angry at her, but I was also angry at my parents. Why were they being so nice to her? Why did they allow her to bully Philippa? I opened my mouth to threaten her with my new status as the princess, but right at that moment, the carriage horseman showed up.
Your Highness, the king wants you to be at the castle in time for the royal ball.
I looked at her. I'll be back. While my heart sank at the mention of another ball. More people to mock me whenever I tripped while dancing. More whispers behind my back. I was so nervous about the evening, I stood at the side without partaking in the dance.
Your Highness, the king requests for your presence.
I looked at the servant. Now?
Yes, Your Highness.
I hurriedly made my way towards him, which was a big mistake on my part. I tripped badly and was about to fall face first on the floor when an arm grabbed me by the wrist, and I stared up into the most gorgeous eyes I had ever seen. I was completely mesmerized.
Are you okay?
I broke out of my daze and blushed. I'm fine. Thanks for catching me.
Not a problem.
Then I went on my way. I found out that he was the prince from the neighboring kingdom, and his name was Charles. I could swear his eyes were on me the entire evening. After a while, I saw him coming towards me. My heart had never beat this fast in all my life.
Would you care for a dance?
And even though I was scared to, in fear that I might trip, I said yes. I had never been so taken by a boy before. As we danced, I stepped on his toes several times, but he didn't point it out, which was so nice of him. Sorry, I'm not much of a dancer. We didn't really have any balls back in the village.
Pardon me?
I cursed under my breath. I couldn't slip up like that again. Do you like to dance?
Not very much so. I would pick archery or horse riding over dancing any day.
We talked, and danced and drank punch, and danced again. This was the best evening since I'd arrived at the palace. After that, we began to see each other regularly. We would go on these long romantic walks, holding hands. I was falling in love with him. He was so kind, even to the servants. Unlike most of the royals I had been around. Things were going great. One day, Charles showed up with flowers and looked into my eyes.
I'm falling in love with you, Anastasia.
Oh, Anastasia. I felt sick at the pit of my stomach. He wasn't in love with me. He was in love with her.
She is not Princess Anastasia!
Came a booming voice, and there she was, her in my body. How had she gotten here?
She is nothing but a fraud, a liar, and a cheat!
She pointed at me and then looked at Charles.
You're in love with me, not her!
Hey, shut up! I yelled, but she pounced at me. Thank goodness Charles was there to shield me behind him. The guards arrived and dragged her away. She was still screaming and struggling as they did so.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
What a clown.
I had had enough. I was sick of living a lie and pretending to be someone else. So I decided to come clean. She was telling the truth. I'm not the princess. I'm just a common village girl. My name is Angela.
What do you mean by that?
Charles was confused. So I told him everything. I knew he would hate me for lying and pretending. I knew he would never love a commoner like me. With tears in my eyes, I ran to the royal bedchambers. I had fooled Charles into loving me. I was pure evil. I wished I could turn back time somehow. The next morning, I woke up with pain in my back. I looked around me and realized that I was in my old bed at the village. How did this happen? Did the spell get reversed somehow? There was someone crouching by my bedside. Someone who looked scary with a hood over their head.
I am sorry. I have to bring you back.
Who are you? They took off their hood, and I was shocked to see that it was none other than my sister Philippa. You did this? But how? She put a finger over her lips, gesturing for me to stay.
Shh. It was because you were crying that day. You needed to see the other side of the picture, too.
I didn't know what or who my little sister was, but she had indeed taught me an important lesson. Mom, Dad, it's me. I'm back.
Angela, what's wrong? What do you need?
They all came running into the room, and I giggled as I pulled them all into a big family hug. Nothing, I'm just happy to be here. My family breathed a sigh of relief, having me back to my normal self once again. It turned out that Princess Anastasia had been acting crazy. The village doctor had advised them to let her have her way. I happily settled down into my old life once again. One day, I was picking flowers to sell later when I looked up to see Prince Charles. What are you doing here? How did you find me?
That's not important. I want you to come back home with me. I returned today.
But don't you love Anastasia?
If I loved her, I wouldn't be standing here right now, would I? I always knew you weren't Anastasia. I have known her for years.
I was shocked. He had known all along? So you don't love her?
No, I love you. Come home with me.
I can't. My family's here. I refused. So he promised to come back when we were a little older. And he actually did. We are married now and even have an adorable baby. I actually became a real princess. The best thing about it all is that my family moved into his palace with me as well. But what I will never know is how my little sister pulled that off. Ugh, where did this pimple come from? And look at this hair. Look how limp and thin. If you couldn't guess, I absolutely hated how I looked. My eyes were too wide apart, my nose was too big, and my lips are thinner than a pancake without baking powder. At school, none of the boys are interested in me, but they were all interested in my older sister, Jillian, who, by the way, was drop-dead gorgeous. To take it from me, it sucked to attend the same school as your older sibling. Nobody knew my name, and the teacher called me Jillian's little sister.
Okay, class, today in sex education, we are going to talk about STIs you can spread via kissing.
That's something Jillian's sister doesn't have to worry about.
My face turned red as the entire class pointed at me and laughed. I stood up and asked the teacher for a hall pass to the bathroom. I waited for a few seconds, and do you know the name that was written on the hall pass? You guessed it, Jillian's sister. I groaned and walked out of the classroom. I was so sick and tired of living in Jillian's shadow. I want people to see me for me, not for who I was related to. Was it too much to ask for? And then, there's Dad. I feel horrible saying this, but I don't think Dad likes me very much. I think it's because I just look like Mom. Mom left him when Jillian and I were toddlers to marry a rich man. Dad always tells me how ugly I am, and refuses to even consider me his daughter, although we share the same last name. But then one day I found something that changed my life forever. If you want to know what that is, keep watching. Hi, my name is Tara, and I'm from Holland. One evening while Dad and I were having dinner, Jillian burst into the dining room with a crown in her hand. She ignored me and ran straight to Dad and jumped up and down.
Daddy, I won!
I'm so proud of you, Princess. I knew you could win the local beauty pageant.
Congrats, Jill. I'm so happy for you.
At least I have one daughter I could be proud of. With a hopeless face like yours, you'll never amount to anything.
May I be excused? Before Dad responded, I ran out of the room crying. All I wanted was to look as pretty as my sister and the other girls at school and to have the only parent I know love me. I'll do anything to feel pretty. Why didn't I think of it before? The internet has everything. I'm sure there's a way to make me pretty. As I scrolled through my search, I saw dozens of articles, but one advertisement caught my eye. Magic makeup. Makeup that magically changes and transforms your face to become gorgeous.
Have you ever wondered what it was like to feel pretty?
Yes?
Are you looking for a reliable product that will change the way you look?
Yes?
Well, look no further. Allow Magic Makeup to not only erase your worries and insecurities, but also transform your face with just a few steps. If you don't believe us, listen to what Brian and Melissa have to say after they used Magic Makeup.
Before Magic Makeup, guys at college didn't look at me twice. But since I started to use Magic Makeup, I have dates lined up for every day of the week.
At work, there was this hot chick named Sophia that I asked out like 100 times, but she was always rejecting me. After I used Magic Makeup, not only did Sophia ask me out, but I'm meeting her family this Christmas. Thank you, Magic Makeup.
Finally, a light at the end of the tunnel. And it's available at the mall closest to me. Yay! I've got to call Casper to give him the great news. Casper is my best friend. We've known each other since the first day of middle school. I spilt soda all over his new t-shirt. OMG, I'm sorry. I'm such a klutz.
It's okay, it's just a shirt. I'll be okay. I'm Casper.
I'm Tara. From that day forward, we've been inseparable.
Hi, bestie, what's up?
You'll never believe what I just found. Before Casper could respond, I excitedly told him about the Magic Makeup brand and that I'd like for him to go with me to the mall to purchase it. After speaking, there was a long silence. I almost thought we had been disconnected, and I was about to hang up when I heard his voice on the other end.
I don't see what the big deal is, Tara. You're perfect just the way you are.
Says the boy who's had a girlfriend every year since we started high school. Don't you get it? I want what you have. To go on dates, to have people like you, and maybe even get my first kiss.
But Tara, you do have people who like you. Buying makeup isn't going to help you become popular. But I'm your best friend, and I'll support you.
Oh, thank you, Casper. I'll see you tomorrow. After Casper and I hung up, I tried to go to sleep, but I was way too excited. Early next morning, Casper and I met at the mall in search for the Magic Makeup brand. But after a while, I didn't think we were ever going to find what we were looking for.
Are you sure the brand is in this mall? We've visited 5 stores already that have no idea what you are talking about.
Hi, good day. Can you help me? I'm looking for the Magic Makeup brand.
Can't you see we're in the middle of a conversation?
You do work here, right? Which means you're supposed to help me.
No amount of makeup can help that face of yours, sweetheart.
My eyes filled with tears and I began to walk out of the store. Casper held my hand and stepped toward the sales clerks.
Good afternoon, ladies. My friend here was wondering if you carried the Magic Makeup brand.
Sure we do. Please follow me.
I can't believe we found it.
I still don't understand why you need that.
It's everything I need to finally look pretty.
You don't need it.
Did you say something, Casper? Before Casper was able to respond, I excitedly took the bag from the sales clerk. My life was totally about to change. That afternoon, as I walked into the living room, Dad glared at me.
Where the heck have you been?
At the mall with Casper.
If you're not at school, you're at the mall. You were never at home to help around the house. You are ugly and worthless. Sometimes I wonder why I even let you stay in this house.
Daddy, why do you hate me?
You're always so dramatic. You always want to take things overboard.
I hate you! I spun on my heels and ran to my room. I really didn't mean to tell Dad I hated him, because I really didn't. But I was hurt by what he said. How can a father be so mean to his daughter? Sometimes I just wished he'd been as proud of me as he was of Jillian. That evening in my bathroom, I looked at the Magic Makeup as tears streamed down my face. This Magic Makeup has to work. It just has to. Tomorrow, your life will change when you begin to use Magic Makeup. You will no longer experience pain or insecurities. Everything will be okay. I give myself a nod of assurance before I exit the bathroom and climb into bed. The next morning, I got up extra early to get ready for school. I grabbed my magic makeup and began to apply it to my face. Once completed, I was totally blown away by the results. Oh my God, Tara, you're beautiful! The day was finally here. I'm no longer an ugly duckling. I finally transformed into the beautiful swan I was meant to be. I was so overwhelmed by the transformation that I squeezed my eyes together so that my tears didn't ruin my makeup. I couldn't wait to go downstairs to show off my new look. I grabbed my school bag and exited my bedroom. I walked into the dining room with a broad smile on my face. As usual, Dad and Jillian didn't look up when I entered, or when I sat down. I couldn't wait to see their reaction to my new face. Good morning, Jillian. Good morning, Dad.
Tara, you look so different.
Thank you. During breakfast, Dad stared at me the entire time. It took everything within me not to laugh at him. After breakfast, I placed my dishes in the sink and turned to Jillian and Dad. Bye, have a great day. I know I will. I waved to Jillian and Dad as I exited the dining room. Today is going to be a great day. As I walked through the hallway, I felt as though everyone's eyes were on me. It felt so weird because nobody ever paid attention to me. But now, everyone's eyes were on me.
Who's that girl?
She's so hot. Will you be my girlfriend?
Honestly, I was a little nervous when I showed up to school today and surprisingly felt more conscious about how I looked. But after seeing the popularity I gained after just a few minutes, I knew purchasing magic makeup was the right choice. My old face was gone. Now it's time for my new face to shine. My day can only get better from here. My morning was so amazing. Everyone wanted to be my friend, and the boys finally paid attention to me and gave me their numbers. But during the third period when I stepped into the gym, I had no idea that my life was about to change drastically.
Hey, Tara, you look different.
All thanks to magic makeup. As Casper and I walked across the court, someone yelled at us.
Look out!
Casper and I turned to the sound of the voice, and that's when I saw it. A ball was coming straight at my face, and I had no time to get out of the way. Out of nowhere, a tall figure stood in front of me and wrapped his arms around me while his back faced the ball and protected me. After the ordeal, the boy pulled away and looked down into my eyes.
Are you okay?
Still shaken by the ordeal, my heart thumped as I looked up and came face to face with Abel, the cutest and most popular basketball player in the school. Can today get any better? Yes, I'm okay, or at least I will be. Thank you so much for protecting me.
Are you new here? I'm sure I would have noticed a beautiful girl such as yourself walking the hallways. What's your name?
Tara.
Abel, we got a game to finish. I'll love to get to know you more. See you around, beautiful.
As Abel jogged away, I couldn't help but smile. Thank you, Magic Makeup. As soon as I got home that afternoon, I began to get ready for Abel's party. Yes, you heard right. After school, Abel invited me to his party. Of course, I had to invite Casper. It took a bit of convincing to get him to say yes. I didn't want him to think I was a different person now just because I looked pretty. At around 7 p.m., the doorbell rang and I went to answer it. I opened the front door and there stood Casper. His mouth was slightly open as he looked at me.
Tara, you look gorgeous.
Thank you. You look great as well.
Are you ready to leave, madame?
Casper extended his hand to me and I took it. Tonight was going to be epic. About 20 minutes later, Casper and I stepped into Abel's backyard. Kids were dancing, chatting, and having a great time. I couldn't believe we were here. Isn't this everything you ever dreamed of?
Uh-huh.
Do you want something to drink?
Sure, why not?
As I walked over to the drinks table, I scanned the crowd for Abel, but he was nowhere to be seen. Being at Abel's party really was a step up from being home alone on a Friday night. Magic makeup really did work. As I looked around, I realized all the popular kids from high school were at this party. It was only a matter of time before I became popular, maybe even more popular than Jillian. I grabbed the sodas and went back to where Casper stood looking at his phone. Looking at anything interesting?
Nothing at all.
Here you go. Do you want to dance? After dancing a few minutes with Casper, something amazing happened. Boys started to flock around me like bees drawn to honey. At first, only one boy asked Casper to cut in. Casper smiled and gracefully stepped aside. After a few seconds, another boy asked to cut in, and then another and another. Soon, I was dancing with 10 boys at once. This was the best night of my life. After I danced to a few more songs with the guys, I told them thanks and went in search of Casper. I scanned the crowd at the party, but Casper was nowhere in sight. I discovered the entrance to a beautiful garden, and that's where I saw Casper standing on a bench. I went over and sat next to him, but he doesn't look up. Hey you, I've been looking all over for you. Why are you here and not at the party?
I don't like the crowd, so I came here.
Don't be such a killjoy. I've seen you post pictures of parties on social media with a much bigger crowd than the one here. Why can't you just enjoy this party like you did those?
Why are you acting like this? This is so not you.
Acting like what? Someone enjoying themselves? Oh, that's right. You're accustomed to being the one having all the fun, and now I'm raining on your parade. Is that it? Or are you upset that people are noticing me more than they're noticing you?
Tara, I wonder where you disappeared. Could I have a dance with the most beautiful girl here?
Sure, why not? The past few weeks have been amazing. If I didn't have pictures as proof, I wouldn't have thought it was real. Since the night of Abel's party, Casper and I haven't spoken much. Even though I'm a bit worried about my friendship with Casper, this is the happiest I've ever been in my life. Was it wrong that I wanted to enjoy the most of it? If it wasn't for magic makeup, I'd probably still be an ugly loser, invisible to those around me. For the first time in my life, I felt pretty, loved, and appreciated. One night while watching a movie, breaking news report came across the screen.
We have just received breaking news from the founder and CEO of Magic Makeup, Dolly Hathaway, that Magic Makeup will no longer be manufactured or sold worldwide because some people have reported side effects from its use. All Magic Makeup products have been recalled from the shelves.
How could Magic Makeup do this to me? No! I thought it was all a dream, but when I woke up the next morning, it was all over Instagram. Magic Makeup was no more. But I still had makeup from them, so there was a possibility that it'll still work, right? Why isn't this working? After trying to apply my makeup for over an hour, I gave up. Magic Makeup no longer worked, and I had no choice but to be seen with my old face. Disappointed, I finally went downstairs to have breakfast.
Why are you looking ugly again? I was just getting used to accepting you as my daughter. I enjoyed watching your pretty face, but now your face is an eyesore. But then again, it's you. I shouldn't be surprised since you always seem to find a way to disappoint me.
Maybe Dad was right. I was nothing but an ugly, worthless daughter. At school, no one paid attention to me. Then I saw Abel chatting with his friends and I smiled. At least Abel will notice me. Hi, Abel.
You look different today. Listen, I need to head to class.
Are we still on for tonight?
Sorry, something came up.
I watched as Abel turned away from me abruptly. With every step, he took a piece of my heart shattered. I tried not to cry as I turned around and headed to class. As the last bell of the day rang, I breathed a sigh of relief, but what I heard from the students in the hall brought tears to my eyes.
Doesn't she look different to you?
Why does her nose look so big? Do you think she was in an accident? She looks hideous.
After that last comment, I burst into tears and ran out of the school compound. Today was the worst day of my life. I ran all the way to the playground 3 blocks away and sank into one of the swings and cried my eyes out. My life will never be the same again. I'm so sorry about how I treated you. I was such a fool.
There are times we will disagree, but that's what friends do. I've always been here for you when you need me. Tell me, what's wrong?
I went on to tell Casper about the horrible day I had, how nobody noticed me. I felt like a monster. Every time Abel saw me today, he turned in the other direction. Hi, Abel. Do you want to do something after school?
I've got to get a haircut. See ya.
Hey, Abel, how were morning classes?
Oh, I just remembered Coach wanted us to run extra laps today at lunch. Gotta go.
I wish Magic Makeup still worked. I'm back to being an ugly nobody. I'd do anything to bring back the different face Magic Makeup gave me.
Tara, nothing is wrong with your face. Nothing was ever wrong with your face. I happen to like your pretty face.
Stop lying. One thing I know about my face is that it isn't pretty.
I'm not lying, Tara, and I have proof.
I watched as Casper dug into his pocket and pulled out his phone. He pulled up a picture and handed his phone to me.
This is you, Tara, the real you. The same beautiful girl I met in middle school. I took this picture of you when you were at Abel's party. This is the happiest I've ever seen you.
As I looked at the picture, I couldn't believe how pretty I looked. Magic Makeup didn't change my face. It just gave me the confidence to feel pretty, happy, and at peace with myself.
Tara, you've always been beautiful inside and out, and you'll always be no matter what. I have a confession to make. I've loved you since the first time I laid eyes on you. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to ruin our friendship, but I realized that holding back maybe wasn't the best idea.
What? Casper, you love me? Then it dawned on me. I never needed Magic Makeup. I just needed to boost my own confidence, which adds to my beauty. All this time, I thought nobody loved me for who I really was. But Casper stood by me all these years and just loved me for me. True transformation doesn't come from outside. It starts from within. I also realized that I loved Casper all along. and didn't want to wait any longer to tell him. I smiled at him and then pulled him into a kiss.
Rachel, come play hide and seek with us. Hey, Rachel, do you want to come and hang out at my house after school?
Can I play with you guys?
Ew, Candace, no way!
Rachel laughed and waltzed away with her friends. I didn't get it. Why was Rachel so popular? She was always so mean to me. Hi, I'm Candace from Texas. Please like and subscribe. Growing up, I was always just average. I wasn't pretty. I wasn't super smart. I wasn't popular. I was the opposite of my neighbor Rachel. Everyone loved her. One time the whole class was at a birthday party. Rachel had told me the day before that it was a dress-up party, so I had begged my mom to buy me this Harley Quinn outfit. I arrived at the party, but to my horror, not a single person was in fancy dress. I was the only one.
Oh, look who's here! Is that supposed to be Harley Quinn? More like hardly a queen.
Everyone laughed at me. It wasn't even a good joke. I was ready to leave the party right away, but then another girl rushed in and stood between me and the crowd of laughing kids.
You leave her alone! I think she looks great.
I was in awe. Who was this girl? She was so brave. I could never stand up to all those kids like that.
Ew! Harley Quinn has a girlfriend!
The whole crowd made kissing noises and laughed even louder, but I didn't care. The girl turned to me.
Are you okay?
I am. Thank you for standing up for me.
It's about time someone stood up to that Cruella.
What's your name?
Tammy. And you?
I'm Candace.
Nice to meet you. Do you want to be friends?
I was taken aback. Not only was she brave, she was confident too. Sure. From that day forth, Tammy and I became best friends. Life was good. Sure, Rachel was basically Medusa reincarnated, but with Tammy by my side, I could handle Rachel's taunts. But then one day my life got thrown off course. It all started in 10th grade. I walked into the classroom and made my way through the chatting students. I sat at the back of the class like usual, trying to avoid drawing any attention to myself. Unfortunately, Rachel noticed me when I walked in.
Oi! Hermione!
Huh?
Seriously, a Gryffindor sweater? Harry Potter was so 10 years ago. It hurts my eyes. Ha! Nice one, Rachel.
I cowered in my seat. Rachel was about to say something else when suddenly the door burst open. We all turned to the doorway, curious who was making such a grand entrance. Suddenly, in walked this guy. He looked so cool. He had on a leather jacket and he had tattoos on his neck. There was also something else about him. Something mysterious.
Who is that? I don't know, but he's super cute.
The guy swept his gaze across the room. I could literally hear all the girls sigh in adoration. I couldn't blame them. Immediately, Rachel zoomed forward.
Hey there, hot stuff. I'm Rachel. I sort of run things around here.
The guy just ignored her, moving forward. Was it just me, or was he looking right at me?
Listen, do you want to come sit next to me? Trust me, not every guy gets this opportunity.
The dude brushed past her and suddenly he was standing right in front of me.
Hey,
I was speechless. Was he speaking to me?
I like your sweater.
He was speaking to me. Thank you.
What's your name?
Candace.
Hey, Candace. I'm Josh. Let's chat more at lunch.
Josh winked and moved off to his seat at the back corner of the classroom. All the girls were staring daggers at me. All right, what just happened? After class, I immediately ran to find Tammy. We had a secret spot that we always met at during break to escape Rachel. I approached the janitor's closet and knocked using our special code.
Who's the hottest character in Harry Potter?
Professor Lupin.
You may enter.
As soon as Tammy opened the door, I rushed in and shut it behind me. Dude, something crazy just happened.
What?
A guy actually talked to me in class. I think he was flirting with me.
What? Give me all the details.
Well, he complimented my Gryffindor sweater.
Makes sense. That sweater is awesome.
And he asked me what my name was.
Oh, total flirty play.
And he winked at me.
OMG! Girl, you gotta make a move. What's his name?
Josh. Tammy's face fell.
Oh no. Oh no.
What's wrong?
Candace! That's my new stepbrother!
My jaw dropped. What? That's him?
Yes! Oh, please, Candace. You have to promise me. Don't do anything with him. Don't date him. Don't kiss him. Please, please don't. I do not want my best friend dating my stepbrother. It's just... gross!
But...
Candace, please. If you value our friendship, Then don't date him.
Okay, Tammy, I won't. Fries over guys.
I don't really like fries, but sure.
The next day, as I was walking to school, I got a message from Tanny.
Sorry, bestie. I got hit with a nasty cold. Skipping school today. Tell Miss Johnson for me.
Well, that's just great. Now I had to spend the whole school day on my own like a true loner. I was busy texting Tammy back when I ran into someone. Oh, sorry about that. I looked up, then immediately felt my body freeze. It was Rachel.
Watch where you're going, catfish.
That was Rachel's nickname for me. I hated it.
Oh, yeah. And by the way,
Rachel and her friend stepped closer.
if you ever think you have a chance with that hotshot Josh, think again. He would never want to date a loser like you.
And he would never date a stuck-up prizzy like you. I winced as my voice cracked. I couldn't help it. I was getting teary.
Oh my god! Now the baby's crying! Did the little baby get her feelings hurt?
I backed away and took off in the opposite direction. I headed towards the bleachers and hid beneath them. This was my private spot that not even Tammy knew. I always came here whenever I needed a break. After wiping away my tears, I pulled out a book from my bag. It was Harry Potter, The Chamber of Secrets. I had already read this book like 10 times, but I always liked to read it to calm me down. I was just getting to the part where Harry realizes who the real culprit behind the killings is, when suddenly I felt a shadow fall over me. I looked up.
Relax, it's just me. It's Josh.
I knew that. That's exactly why I screamed. Josh sat down beside me. I eyed him warily.
Why are you here by yourself?
Tammy's sick.
Oh yeah, I heard. She's my stepsister, you know.
I nodded. I know. We sat in silence for a bit. It was so awkward.
What book are you reading?
I sighed. Listen, Josh, you don't have to be friendly to me just because you feel sorry for me. I'm fine, really.
I don't feel sorry for you.
Then why are you talking to me?
Because I think you're cute, and you seem really cool too.
Okay, what? The hottest boy at school just called me cute? This had to be a dream. But then I remembered Tammy's words. She made me promise not to do anything with Josh. I had to break this up, quick. I gotta go.
Can we hang out again sometime? I'd really like to get to know you.
I don't know. And before he could say anything else, I ran off. The next class was gym, and I groaned in horror when I realized we were playing dodgeball. I hated dodgeball. Rachel and her friends always aimed for me. Usually, I was out within 3 seconds. But this time, when the coach blew his whistle, the unexpected happened. Rachel and her friends aimed for me as usual. But then suddenly, a figure appeared in front of me and blocked all their throws, shielding me. I looked up. Josh?
Hey, Candace.
More balls were launched at us, but Josh blocked them all with his own dodgeball, like some kind of god.
Everyone in for Candace!
Give me your best shot.
They all readied and threw the dodgeballs right at me. Suddenly, I felt my feet lift the ground as Josh grabbed me in his arms and we sped across the room, escaping all their balls. Finally, we skidded to a stop once they had run out of balls.
Stay here, Candace. I won't be 2 minutes.
Josh turned around and grinned.
Now it's my turn.
He lifted the dodgeballs and pelted them at the opposing team. They went down like bowling pins, one after another. No one could dodge his throws, and at the end, our team had won.
Wow, Josh, you're amazing! So strong. Do you work out?
But Josh ignored all the girls' compliments and approached me.
Candace, let's hang out after school. I'm thinking I'd take you to a nice sushi restaurant. What do you say?
All the girls looked at me in anger. I knew what they were thinking. Why was Josh infatuated with me, of all people? He had all the prettiest and most popular girls in class fawning over him. Gotta go.
But...
I disappeared quickly. I had to keep my promise to Tammy. Later after school, I called Tammy. Tammy, you won't believe what happened today.
Wait, don't tell me. Come over right now.
But aren't you sick?
Huh?
You said you had a cold.
Oh yeah, I was just lying about that. The final episode for Stranger Things came out today and I couldn't miss it.
Oh, Tammy. Later, I arrived at her house and Tammy dragged me to her room.
Okay, what's the tea?
Suddenly, Tammy held her nose.
Okay, hold up.